Can you start another IND AS? IND AS 17. Leases. What is the corresponding AS? AS 19. Leases. AS 19 was where? In IPCC? How many of you left AS 19? How many of you done but not understood and left before exam? Surrendered. And how many of you have understood? No, ऐसा नहीं है. Many of you have understood. So let's see what you have understood. Once again I say this AS 19 is not for IPCC. I also feel that. This AS 19 is not for IPCC. But then also it was in exam we teach and you also learn. And in IPCC though they ask pakka one question from this topic. You also know this fact. Now what is lease? Coming to this part. Point number 1. Meaning. I will not ask from you because you know. So बताओ in lease how many party? 2 party. One party will be what? देखो you know. Lesser. And one party will be what? Lessee. Correct? Lessee. Correct. बताओ who is lesser? Owner of asset. Who is lessee? बताओ. User of asset. User of asset. Everyone try to understand what I am saying. Can I say owner of asset? So this asset can be inventory for lesser or it can be other than inventory, for example PPE, or don't write PP, I don't know, other than inventory, better. Other than inventory, this is more correct. Other than inventory, it is quite possible. Either this asset can be inventory of the owner, or it can be what? Other than inventory. Other than inventory. This also you have understood. So what lesser will do? Lesser will transfer what? Transfer what? Bolo. Not ownership. If ownership is transferred, then though we are in what? Revenue recognition, sale of goods. Correct now? So ownership is not transferred. What is transferred? Possession also don't say. Let me say. So what is transferred? Right to use is transferred. Right to use. Right to use. So what has been transferred by lessor to lessee? Right to use. For some specific period. So first, for some defined period, specific period, which is non-cancellable, and this period will be non-cancellable. Means if it is cancelable, it is not lease. It is a non-cancellable period. Non-cancellable period. Correct? And in consideration, what lessee will compensate? Lessee will compensate to whom? Lessor. So can I say lessee will give some consideration for this consideration, which can be either lump sum, amount, or series of what? Series of payment. Series of payment. Normally it is what? Series of payment. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Series of payment. Any doubt? So this specific period in this chapter will be known as lease term. Lease term. And this consideration will be known as lease payment. Lease payment. This will be known as lease payment. So this is the definition of what? Lease. So can I say lease means what? It is an agreement between two persons, lessor and lessee, in which one person, lessor, transfer right to use of that asset to other person, lessee, for a specific period for some consideration, in return of consideration, which can be a series of payment, Any doubt? No doubt. Okay? Means, can I say in simple words, try to understand, any transaction can be a lease transaction if it satisfied all the conditions? Bole yes or no? Try to understand. I went to Goa. You know Goa? I went to Goa and I have taken a bike for 5 days. So batao, whether all the conditions satisfied, if it is non-cancellable, cancelable so will not come. Means suppose even though after 1 day I return it, I need to pay a consideration for 5 days. So it is non-cancellable. It means it is non-cancellable. So let us assume that was a non-cancellable contract. So that is simple. I have taken bike for a consideration for 5 days. It will come under definition of what? Lease. It will come under definition of lease. So when we think lease, don't go what beyond your knowledge. It can be a small transaction also. Are you able to understand? Correct. So when all the conditions satisfied, it will be known as lease. The most important condition is non-cancellable. Now, first let us understand the meaning of non-cancellable. So what is the meaning of non-cancellable? Sir, please define what is the meaning of non-cancellable. So non-cancellable is also defined where? In what? IND AS 17. So write down non-cancellable lease is a lease that is cancelled. Oh, acha, ye baat. That is cancelled means it can be also cancelled. Are you getting what I am saying? So it can be also cancelled, but upon some occurrence. Are you getting? It can be cancelled only. Point number A. Upon the occurrence of some remote contingencies. Upon occurrence of some remote contingencies, means some terrorist attack. So in that event, it can be cancelled. Are you getting? On occurrence of some remote contingencies. Point number B, which can be cancelled with the what? Permission of what? Lessor. If lessor agreed, so it can be cancelled. Point number C. if the lessee what enters into a new lease for the same asset, this point you understood? Means old agreement will be cancelled and new agreement will be entered. So old agreement can be cancelled. So then also it is a non-cancellable contract. Then also the prior contract will be a non-cancellable contract. Last, point number D. Upon payment of what? Upon payment of what? Penalty. Upon payment of penalty. It can be cancelled only when some compensation need to be paid by whom? Lessee to lessor. So it can be cancelled on this situation. Otherwise it cannot be cancelled. It cannot be cancelled. Then also it will be known as what? Non-cancellable. Non-cancellable. Are you able to understand this point? Correct. So when we try to, there is always a doubt about lease and rent. Lease and rent. Sometimes we understand both are same only. Rent are what? Cancellable contract. Whenever we say that we have taken this building on rent, so it means it can be cancelled. It can be cancelled upon any situation. Are you getting? By giving certain period of notice, wo alag baat hai, but it can be cancelled. It can be cancelled. So when we use the word lease, so lease are what? Non-cancellable. Non-cancellable. Understood? Correct? So cancelable rent agreement are not covered where? In AS 19, IND AS 17. This point you understood? This point you understood? Bolo. Now, there are two types of lease. Means these lease are of two types. One, this you know. One is known as what? Finance lease. One is what? Operating lease. Operating lease. You also know what is the difference. Bolo, what is the difference between finance lease and operating lease? In case of finance lease, along with the right to use, what is also transferred? A risk and reward is transferred. But in case of operating lease, a risk and reward is not transferred. The important difference. And because of this, entire accounting treatment of finance lease and operating lease will be different. Will be different. Are you getting what I'm saying? Means point number 2. Write down. Types of lease. Types of lease. Point number A. Point number A. Finance lease. So what is finance lease? A finance lease is a lease where what? Lessor transfer substantial risk and reward, substantial risk and reward, incidental to ownership, incidental to what? Ownership, along with what? Along with right to use. Right to use. Correct? So what is transferred? Substantial risk and reward means, of course, they have not written all risk and reward. Substantial, but it is not defined. 1 second, judgment will come. Judgment will come. Means when I say, when what? Majority of risk and reward transferred, then becomes substantial, but they have not used the word all. All will come only when ownership is also transferred. When ownership is transferred, then by default all the risk and reward is transferred. But without ownership also, risk and reward can be transferred. Risk and reward can be transferred. Means one thing is clear that in case of this agreement, the lessor may or may not transfer the ownership. May or may not transfer the ownership. Correct? This point you understood? Any doubt? Now question arises, what is the meaning of risk and reward? One thing is clear that risk and reward incidental to what? Ownership. This is the keyword, incidental to ownership. So what is the meaning of risk and reward? Incidental to ownership. Incidental to ownership. So sir, I will define risk and reward, but first what is operating lease? Operating lease. So what is operating lease? Which are other than finance lease. Other than finance lease. Any doubt? Okay. Now, coming to risk and reward. When I say risk and reward, what comes in your mind? Bolo. When I say risk and reward, so what comes in your mind? Which type of risk, which type of reward? Raise your hand and say. When I say risk and reward, so in your mind what comes? Which risk, which reward? Yes? Benefit arising from the use of asset. Try to understand. Suppose I have taken a building on rent. So can I say, when I will use the building, so of course I will earn tuition fee. That is the benefit deriving from this building. Whether this become a reward, then so all rent agreement will become what? Are you able to understand? This is from the use of asset. That, but not from ownership of the asset. So risk and reward which are due to what? Ownership has been transferred. So all risk, all reward are not incidental to what? Ownership. For example, when I am using the asset, there will be some damage, and due to that damage, some repair maintenance required. That is not a risk. That is what? Loss due to use of asset. That should be borne by what? Lessee only. That should be borne by lessee. But that is not a risk incidental to what? Ownership. So what is the meaning of risk incidental to ownership? We'll take some examples so that you have a clear idea which risk we are talking about, which reward we are talking about. Are you able to understand? Means I will target each and every word. Till you understand risk and reward incidental to ownership, we can't go what? To the accounting treatment. Okay? Now, first example, loss of idle capacity. Loss of idle capacity. Are you getting what I am saying? See, even though we are not using the asset, entire loss will be borne by whom? Lessee. This is what? Ownership loss, which has been transferred. Which has been transferred. Are you getting what I am saying? Correct? So due to some event, you are not using the asset, then also you need to bear all the loss. It means some way, the loss which is borne by owner. The loss which is borne by owner. So risk and reward incidental to ownership has been transferred. Suppose I am not taking classes for 2 years, I will say, Lele bhai, I will not pay rent. After 2 years, once again I will come and pay the rent. It means what has not been transferred? Risk incidental to ownership has not been transferred. Are you getting what I am saying? Point number 2. Loss due to changes in technology. Oh, अच्छा, ये बात. Loss due to changes in technology. Now you will appreciate all types of examples. Correct? Then what? Loss due to decrease in the fair value of asset. In the fair value of asset. In the fair value of asset. Understood? Point number 4. Loss due to variation in expected profit. Yeah, expected return. Loss due to variation in expected return. These are loss which are incidental to what? Ownership. Means this type of loss are borne by owner, which has been transferred. Means indirectly ownership has been transferred. I think you have understood 1, you have understood 2, you have understood 4. But you have not understood 3. 4 also not understood. Loss due to variation in expected return. For example, I have taken one asset on lease and my expectation was that I will earn 2 lakh per month from the use of this asset. From the use of, when you purchase, suppose I purchase a laptop, this laptop when I purchase, so one expectation was there, कि minimum I will earn from my coaching 1 lakh or whatever, 1 lakh. Are you getting what I am saying? This was my expectation, but due to this, I was only earning what, 50,000. So can I change this laptop? If my expectation does not mean, can I go to one second vendor, le baba? So it means my expectation was 1 lakh, but I'm only earning only what, 50,000. Can I return the asset? I cannot return the asset. Means ownership loss. This is ownership loss. Incidental to ownership. Incidental to ownership. Are you able to understand? I think you have understood 1, 2, 4. But have you understood point number 3? Anyone who have understood point number 3? Not understood? So I need to explain this. So give me some time. Give me some time. Okay? Reward. Only there is one reward, which is incidental to ownership. Appreciation. Reward you are saying or what? Appreciation. So, chalo, very good. So, reward will be just opposite of point number 3. Gain from increase in the fair value of asset. Only one reward, which is incidental to ownership. Correct? This point. Sublease, you can do sublease, but in a lease contract they can put restriction on sublease. Sublease is what? You are using the asset for some other purpose. So sublease is your revenue profit. Whenever I will take the asset, will earn some operating profit. That is an operating profit. This is not incidental. That's right. Whatever asset I will purchase from the market, I will purchase for use now. So that is the intention. I will purchase the asset, maja aa raha hai, for some particular use. For some particular use. That everyone will get. Are you getting? So what I am saying, risk and reward incidental to ownership. So that benefit you can derive from operating lease also. Operating lease can be also sublease, if it is agreed in what contract. Understood? Chalo. Now, coming to once again the definition. Now, let us come to definition. Finance lease, operating lease, you understood? 1 second definition. I think all had done one chapter in IPCC, hire purchase. Hire purchase. And I would like to inform you that whatever you have done in hire purchase was based on AS 19 only. Means hire purchase is nothing but an example of what? finance lease. Hire purchase is nothing but an example of finance. Let us understand what happens in hire purchase. In hire purchase, one person who is hire vendor transfer right to use initially. Ownership is not transferred. Ownership is not transferred. Bolna re. So what is transfer? Right to use for some specific period. For some specific period. In series of installment, for series of installment. But all the point, and that is also non-cancellable. That is also non-cancellable. That can be cancelled only on occurrence of this event. Only on occurrence of this event. Are you getting what I am saying? Correct? Are you able to understand? All conditions satisfied? My question to you all, in hire purchase, risk and reward of the asset is transferred or not transferred? Batao. No, at the beginning I am saying. At the end, ownership is transferred. At the beginning, risk and reward of the asset is transferred or not? At the beginning, risk and reward of the ownership is transferred or not? If fire occurred, the entire asset damaged, but then also they need to pay the installment or not? Yes. The entire risk and reward is transferred. Entire risk and reward is transferred. Therefore, hire purchase, whatever you have done in what? IPCC is nothing but what? Finance lease. Means you know accounting treatment, nothing to teach. Are bolna re. Nothing to teach. Now we have done many questions on hire purchase. Are bolna. Forgot wo alag baat hai. You forgot ABC. A for apple, B for boy. That also you forget. Now you are saying A for aeroplane. Are you getting? So forget choro. But you have done or not? At that time you have understood or not? Are bolna re. Means you know AS 19. Means you know IND AS 70. Means nothing to teach. Means only I need to give you some technical terms based on what? IND AS 17 or AS 19. Means I'm just giving you one point that this chapter you know. Now whatever I will say, you need to answer from which chapter point of view? Hire purchase chapter point of view. Everyone. Suppose I want to take one asset on hire purchase. Correct? Correct? The fair value of asset at the beginning is 1 lakh. 1 lakh. But I will pay in what? Installment. So this is 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. 20,000. Correct? My question to you all, everyone try to understand the question because you need to give answer as per chartered accountant, not as per IPCC student. My question to you, for the use of asset, correct? You have to purchase the asset. Purchase the asset. Or to obtain entire risk and reward of the asset. I have given you 3 terms. For the use of the asset for its entire economic life. Suppose the economic life of the asset is what? 5 years only. Or to purchase the asset, normal sale and purchase. Or to obtain entire risk and reward of the asset. You will pay how much? How much amount? There are 3 answers. Less than 1 lakh, equal to 1 lakh, or more than 1 lakh. The fair value of asset is 1 lakh. So you will get the asset at which amount? Less than 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh, or equal to 1 lakh? Bolo. How many of you are saying equal to 1 lakh? How many are saying more than 1 lakh? How many are saying less than 1 lakh? What others are saying? ऐसे तो ना होता है रे. such a simple question I've asked, a lollipop question this. Lollipop question, they would try to understand. If you are giving wrong answer, it does not mean you are not a chartered accountant. Huh? We are human beings. How can you know all the point? Therefore, they have introduced elective paper, see book and write down. Institute also know this fact. A chartered accountant always require book for answering the client answer. Suppose somebody asks me any question, whether I know that point, I will refer the book and answer. But I will not refer in front of him. I will say, अरे यार थोड़ा busy हूँ, बाद में आना. 1 second बताओ. Equal to, more than or less than? How many are saying equal to? How many are saying more than? एक बार ऐसे करो ना. I will see. How many are saying less than? चलो. More than is 100% wrong. I was expecting this answer only. But more than means you are thinking about interest. But the interest you are paying to obtain the risk and reward of a loan. Interest, whatever you are paying, that is not to purchase the asset, that is for financing the asset. That is for financing the asset. I have used the word for obtaining the risk and reward. To purchase the asset or for use of the asset for entire economic life, you will not pay more than 1 lakh. You will pay equal to what? Fair value. Equal to fair value. हाँ, if some discount we receive, मजा आ रहा है. Are you able to understand? But whether you will be ready to pay more than 1 lakh? Whether you will be ready to pay more than 1 lakh for the use of the asset? No, Baba, no. You are paying more than 1 lakh because you do not have money right now and you want a loan, you want finance. So whatever you are paying extra, that is interest element. Interest element that is not for the purchase of the asset. Understood this point? So can I say, everyone, higher purchase chapter, this is cash price, yaad karo. This was cash price. And suppose rate of interest is 10%, first year interest will be 10,000, then 8,000, then 6,000, then 4,000, then 2,000. So it become 1 lakh plus how much? 1 lakh plus how much? 30,000. So this was equal to HP price, yaad karo. Higher purchase price. Higher purchase price. You remember? You remember this point? I bolna re. Cash price, higher purchase price, you remember? Cash price, higher purchase price? I will not teach, huh? If you will not respond, I will not teach. So can I say you know cash price, you know HP price? My next question to you all, the first journal entry you have done in the books of hire vendor or hire purchase. What? Suppose in the books of hire purchase, you have done asset account debit to payable. Payable? Asset account debit to payable. At what price? What price? What price? But pakka na. At what value? Fair value. Means you are paying fair value for the asset. You are not paying 1,30,000 for the asset. You know this fact. You have done in your bachpan, but you have not understood because nobody has given explanation to you. They have exploited your life. Everything you know. Asset account, jana entry, majara 1 lakh. But why? Because that is the fair value of the asset. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? So can I say we are paying the fair value of the asset for the use. Whatever extra we are paying, that is for what? Financing. Therefore, it is known as finance lease. Finance lease. Under some finance element is there. Correct? This you understood? Now try to understand. Means you have paid 1 lakh. Means what is the fair value of the asset? Now, any increase in the fair value belong to whom? Lesser or lessee? Any decrease in the fair value belong to whom? Understood. Risk and reward. has been transferred. Because you are paying 1 lakh, and after paying 1 lakh for the use of the asset or for the obtaining ownership or whatever, if 1 lakh becomes immediately 80,000 due to any reason, so this loss need to be borne by what? Lessee, not lessor, because this is non-cancellable contract. Non-cancellable contract. I think now you have understood this. Well, have you understood loss due to decrease in the fair value of the asset? Increase in the value of fair value of the asset. Understood? I will define each and every term, but you need to respond. And believe me, if you will not ask, you will never ask in class this type of question. I am only creating doubt. I only said you have not understood point number 3. If I have not said that point, you तो मजा ही आ रहा है, ठीक ही पढ़ा रहा है teacher. So I will create doubt, but you need to respond. You need to respond. Okay. Now I think you have understood the meaning of lease. Meaning of lease. So can I conclude hire purchase is an example of finance lease which we know? Which we know. Or can I say in this way, everyone try to understand the asset will be recorded in the books. Asset will be recorded in the books of hire purchaser at fair value, which is equal to cash price. And cash price is nothing but present value of what? Present value of what? HP price. HP price na? HP price. So this become one formula. Recognize asset at what? Either fair value or present value of installment or lease payment. Lease payment. Understood this point? Chalo. This much you have understood. Now, everyone try to understand. Meaning says risk and reward will be transferred. But practically a doubt will come. So how we will understand that risk and reward has been transferred, because in lease agreement is not drafted by chartered accountant. Lease agreement will be drafted by lawyer. And lawyer don't know AS 19 or IND AS 17. So they will not mention risk and reward has been transferred. Are we able to understand? So from lease agreement it might happen we are not able to understand whether risk and reward has been transferred. So sir, practically how we will deal with this situation? So answer is given in AS 19 as well as IND AS 17. They have given some primary factor and secondary factor, yeah, indicator. When this indicator come, it will be a finance lease. It will be a finance lease. This point also you have done where? IPCC. This only you have done. Point number 3. Point number 3, no? Point number 3. Chalo, we'll take break. After break, we will do it. Okay? Can we start once again? Write down point number 3. Indicator for finance lease. So they have given two indicators. First is primary. Indicator. There are 5 indicators. Do you remember? First, the lessee will what? Will get ownership when? Ownership of leased asset when? At the end of lease term. At the end of lease term. Correct? And this is nothing but hire purchase agreement. Hire purchase agreement. Correct? Point number B. The lessee has an option to purchase what? Leased asset when? At the end of lease term. At the end of lease term. So has an option to purchase at the end of lease term. ठीक है? At a price lower than what? Lower than fair value of leased asset at the end of what? Lease term. At the end of lease term. Yes, technically point number A and point number B are same. Because if I will give an option to the lessee that you can purchase the asset at a price which is lower than fair value, means always they will agree. Always they will agree now. No one will say I will not purchase. So if the price is 1 lakh and they can purchase the asset at 20,000, so whether they will say no, they will always say yes. And this agreement will be drafted only to transfer ownership at the end of lease term. Means intention is to transfer ownership at the end of lease term. So technically A and B are same. Are you getting what I am saying? Correct? Means one thing is clear that in these two examples, in these two situations, ownership will be transferred at the end. Will be transferred at the end. Correct? Means there is an intention of sale. There is an intention of sale, and whenever there is an intention of sale, but the entire fair value of asset will be recovered or not? Entire fair value of the asset will be recovered. Are you able to understand? So it means finance lease is nothing but what? A sale. Finance lease is nothing but a sale because entire fair value of the asset will be recovered from lessee. Means can I say in this way? If the entire fair value is recovered from lessee, then it is a finance lease. Then it is a finance lease. When entire fair value at the beginning, if entire fair value is recovered from lessee, then it is a finance lease, then it is a sale, then it is a sale. This point you understood? Correct. So lessee will get ownership at the end of lease term. Lessee has an option to purchase the asset at the end of lease term at a price lower than what? Fair value. Can I say I have drafted this agreement only why? Because my intention is to sell only. My intention is sale. Otherwise, I would have not given such option. Otherwise, I would have not given such option. Correct? It means this is a finance lease and all the risk and reward will be transferred. This point. But there can be a situation where ownership is not transferred at the end. Then also it can be a what? Finance lease. The important factor is that all the entire fair value of asset will be recovered. If you are recovering entire fair value of the asset without transfer of the ownership, then also it will be what? A finance lease. Then also it will be a finance lease. Means transfer of ownership at the end of lease term is not compulsory. Transfer of ownership at the end of lease term is not compulsory. Means in case of finance lease, ownership may or may not transfer at the end of lease term. May or may not transfer at the end of lease term. So what is the third situation? This also you know. The lease terms cover what? Cover major part of what? Of what? Of economic life. Of economic life of the asset. So lease terms cover major part of economic life of the asset. Economic life of the asset. So you can see they have not used the term useful life. Means useful life and economic life are different. Useful life and economic life are different. So sir, what is the meaning of economic life? Try to understand. Suppose this is the asset is purchased by A Limited. Then after 5 years sold to B Limited. After 5 years sold to B Limited. After 2 years sold to C Limited. Are you getting? Means A Limited has used for how many years? B Limited has used for how many years? And let us assume C Limited will use for another 5 years. So what is the total economic life of the asset? 12. So what is the total life of the asset? Total economic life means for how many years economic benefit can be derived from the asset. Economic benefit can be derived from the asset. So for a new asset, the 12 year is the total economic life. But for A Limited, what was the useful life? For B Limited, what was the useful life? For C Limited, what is the useful life? So can you see useful life can be equal to or less than what? Economic life. Bole yes or no? Useful life can be equal to or less than what? Economic life. So they have used the word economic life. Economic life. So are you getting for the first year, but what is the economic life of the asset? 12 years. 12 na? Economic life, but it might happen I am using that asset only for 5 years. Then I will not use the asset. Are you getting? So the word is economic life, major part of economic life of the asset, correct? This you understood. Now question is that, so what is major part? This is not defined in Ind AS 17, also not defined in AS 19. But from exam point of view, we'll take 75%. From exam point of view. However, in exam they will clearly indicate that major part of economic life has been transferred. But then also not indicated. Then if 75% of economic life is transferred, from exam point of view, say the major part has been transferred. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if lease terms cover major part of economic life of the asset, then it will be a finance lease. Finance lease. Okay? Are you able to understand? Now, try to understand. Suppose if the asset life is 10 years and it is given for 10 years, entire economic benefit derived from by whom? Lessor or lessee? Lessee only. Even though ownership is not transferred at the end of lease term, but lessor will recover entire fair value or less than fair value? Entire fair value. Means intention is sale only. Intention is sell. Are you getting what I am saying? Correct? So if lease terms cover major part of economic life, not useful life, economic life of the asset. Economic life of the asset. Understood this point? Point number D. The leased asset is of specialized nature. The leased asset is of specialized nature which can be used only by lessee unless major modification is being made. Unless major modification is being made. I think this you have understood. The leased asset is of specialized nature means this has been constructed only for the purpose of what? Lessee. Only for the purpose of lessee. The best example which I will say is ambulance. The best example is ambulance. I don't know whether you know this point or not. All hospitals require ambulance. Correct? And as per some rules, I don't know which act, but as per government rules, hospital need to change the ambulance after every 3 to 5 years. Not repair. They need to change it. After every 3 to 5 or 7 years. I don't know the exact year. Suppose 5 years. After 5 years, because there is a high chances of accident now. Because ambulance what? Ooh, they will not follow the traffic rules. Bole so. They will not follow traffic laws. You know that the ambulance driver is doing some accident, no punishment. Are you getting? This is a rule. So ambulance need to be what? Renew, need to be changed after every 5 years. Now you only say hospital will purchase or will take on lease. Hospital will always take on lease. So normally, previously, before some years, all ambulance has an agreement with Maruti. You know Maruti Omni? So Maruti company has an agreement with what? Hospitals. They will give what? Maruti Omni as ambulance to whom? Hospitals on lease. But the first Maruti company will manufacture car or manufacture ambulance? First car. Then upon agreement on lease, they will modify the Omni into what? Ambulance. For the purpose of only what? Hospital. But this ambulance can be used for any other purpose? No. Can you see? Maza aa raha hai? No, Baba. No. Are you able to understand what I am saying? After 5 years, even though ownership is not transferred, who will get back this Maruti Omni? Maruti company will get back. But what Maruti Omni will do? Whether it can be sold in the market? No. Unless what? Major modification is being made. But the entire fair value will be recovered from hospital or not? Entire fair value of ambulance will be recovered from hospital. Are you getting? I have given the best example. Ambulance. The leased asset is of specialized nature which can be used only by what? Lessee. One more example. Right now, metro project is going on. They require big plant machinery only for the purpose of metro project. Once the metro project is over, what they will do about that asset. Whether maja aa raha hai, they will keep it. Can I say no use na? Because metro project in Hyderabad only one time. Bolo yes or no? Are you able to understand? Means after project completed that need to be dismantled, even though they have remaining useful life. Bolo yes or no? So that is used only by what? Lessee. Entire fair value will be recovered or not? Entire fair value will be recovered. Understood? Point number E. Point number E. Try to understand. So they have given 4 indicators, and at the end they say if point number 1 not satisfied, point number 2 not satisfied, point number 3 not satisfied, point number 4 not satisfied, apply one formula. Apply one formula. The formula will be what? Present value of HP price will be equal to what? Cash price. If this is okay, means entire fair value is recovered. If entire fair value is recovered, then it is what? A finance lease. Understood? So what they have written? On inception of lease. On inception. Inception means on inception of lease, present value of minimum lease payment. Minimum lease payment. Minimum lease payment. We'll call it as a MLP. Now what is MLP? Yet to be defined. Present value of minimum lease payment substantially cover what? Initial fair value of leased asset. Initial fair value of leased asset. I think this point you have understood. But once again, what is not defined? Substantially has not been defined. From exam pointer, we will take it as what? 90%. From exam pointer, practically apply your own judgment. Practically, once you become C, apply your own judgment, depending upon facts and circumstances. Understood? Correct? So when present value of MLP is substantially covering what? Initial fair value of leased asset. This will be a finance lease. This 5 point you understood? Can you repeat with me? What is the first point? Lessee will get what? Ownership at the end of second. Lessee has an option to purchase the leased asset at a price lower than fair value of leased asset at the end of point number C. Lease terms cover major part economic life of leased asset. Point number 4. Leased asset is of specialized nature which can be used only by unless on inception of lease. Correctly said? Okay. Then write down point number. This was point number A. Then write down point number B. Additional indicator. Additional indicator means sometime what happens if there is some doubt about these 5 indicators. So you can use this additional indicator as a support. Are you getting? Some doubt came. Even though condition satisfied, but doubt is coming. For example, doubt will come for point number C to pakka. Sometime doubt will come. What is major part? So you can use additional indicator with what? Primary indicator. Means additional indicator cannot be used what? Independently. Are you getting what I am saying? So additional indicator should be used along with what? Primary indicator. Should be used along with primary indicator. So what are the additional indicator? Let us write down. Point number A. If lease can be cancelled, and lesser loss, when it will be cancelled, it is a loss of what? Lesser loss associated with cancellation, with cancellation are to be borne by whom? Are to be borne by lessee. I think you have understood. No explanation required. Correct. Point number B. Gain or loss from fluctuation in fair value belong to whom? Belong to lessee. I think you have understood. No explanation required. Point number C. Lessee can extend lease term at a rent which is substantially lower than market rent. This you have understood? Not understood. I will explain. Try to understand, everyone. Suppose the economic life of the asset is what? 10 years. 10 years. And the asset is given for 7 years. Doubt will come whether it is a finance lease or operating lease. A doubt will come. Doubt might come, practically doubt will come. Theoretically, I have said 75% from exam point of view. Okay, na? Now, in this situation, you need to go to additional factor, additional indicator. Suppose the rent of this is 1 lakh for 7 years. The rent is 1 lakh for 7 years. But an option has been given to what? Lessee. You can extend 7 years to another 3 years. Means life is what? 10 years, na? So another 3 years by paying a rent of only what? 10 rupees or 1,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. But it is what? Lower than market rent or not? Means entire fair value is recovered here only. Bolo yes or no? It means entire fair value of asset is already recovered. Now so it is your asset only. If you want to take at 1 rupees. If you don't want, give me. Are you getting? So one option has been given. You can extend it at a price lower than market rent. But when I will give at lower than market rent, it means I have recovered entire fair value. I have recovered entire fair value. I am doing business na, baba. No relationship. No relationship. Understood? If this situation is coming, it is giving one indication. It is what? Finance lease. It is what? Finance lease. Understood? This point you understood? 1, 2, 3, bolo. This also you have understood. So now we have understood finance lease, which are not finance lease will be what? Operating lease. Any doubt before I start accounting treatment? Accounting treatment will be very easy because you have done which chapter? Hire purchase. Lesses loss associated with cancellation. So whatever loss, because we have cancelled, there is loss of interest, etc. So that you need to bond. If you are bearing that loss, okay, it is a finance lease. So that much penalty you need to pay. It means all the risk and reward has been transferred initially only. Then only you will be agreed to pay now. Correct? Operating means how? Operating means what? Operating. Chalo. Now understood? So will you start with operating or finance? Of course, we'll start with finance because operating lease is a 5-minute discussion. Entire discussion will be what? Finance lease. Write down. I want your what? Interaction, participation. Otherwise, I will write down, it will become AS19, whatever you have done where? In IPCC. If you want to add some value, some cooperation, some interaction is required. Accounting treatment for finance lease. For finance lease. One thing is clear that this is nothing but a sale purchase agreement. Bolo yes or no? Sale purchase agreement as per substance over form. So it means it is the accounting treatment is entirely based on substance. Entirely based on substance. Correct? So first we'll do point number A. Books of lessee. That is more easy. Hence I am starting with what? Books of lessee. Books of lessee. Better without writing we can take one example directly. We'll take one example and we'll try to understand from that example. I will give you one IPCC level example. A Limited has taken what? One machine, correct now, on lease from whom? From B Limited. For how many years? 5 years. For 5 years. On 1/4/2016. Economic life of asset is equal to 5 years. So this is what? Finance lease. Agreed lease payment are as follow. On 31st March 2017, 70,000. Then 18, 65,000. Then 19, 60,000. Then 20, 35,000. Then 21, 10,000. This is the agreed lease payment. Okay. A Limited has guaranteed residual value to B Limited of rupees 12,000. Of rupees 12,000. Okay? This guarantee is given on inception only. On 1/4/2016. Okay? However, expected residual value of B Limited means from the point of view of B Limited at the end of useful life is rupees 20,000. Interest rate implicit on lease means for this purpose is 10%. Past journal entry in the books of A Limited and prepare extract of financial statement and prepare extract of financial statement. Very simple. Correct? Now we'll understand entire accounting treatment from this example, from this simple basic example. Okay? Correct? Now, first question, everyone try to understand. But we are doing journal entry in whose books? So we should do journal entry from the point of lessee or lesser? From the point of lessee or lesser? So can I say all information pertaining to lessee should be taken into consideration? Means any information which belong to what? Lesser should not be considered. So can I say this information expected residual value of B Limited, whether it should be considered right now? No. So can I say this is bakwas? This is bakwas. Are you able to understand? This is bakwas. So from the point of lessee, any residual value expected by lesser should not be considered. Should not be considered. Okay. However, they have given some guarantee. Who has given guarantee? A Limited. Can I say because the ownership was not transferred at the end of lease term. देखो check करो, the ownership was not transferred. So because A Limited become emotional, A Limited said that I have used the asset for 5 years, so I want to obtain the ownership of this asset at the end of 5 years. Are you getting? For this purpose, they have given one guarantee to what? B Limited, that even though you are not transferring the ownership at the end of lease term, but I want to purchase the asset at the end of lease term by paying what? By paying what? 12,000. This is a guarantee given by lessee to lessor for purchase now, for purchasing the asset, for purchasing the asset. Are you getting what I am saying? Bolo yes or no? One second. Try to understand whatever I am saying. Because in this question, what is not transferred at the end of lease term? Ownership is not transferred. So can I say whenever we use something, it become our only? Bolo yes or no? Even though it is given on rent, it become our. Right? I have taken one building on rent. Now, if the owner will say, go out of this house, so whether I will go, I will pay extra rent, but I will remain there only. Because emotional attachment. My marriage was in that home only. My 2 kids was that home only. Emotional attachment. Human being, Indian. So emotional attachment is there. So what I will do, I will give a guarantee. At the end of lease term, whatever you want, I will pay. But this is the minimum guarantee I am giving. This is the guarantee I am giving. This much amount I will pay. Means this guarantee has been given to purchase the asset. This guarantee has been given to purchase the asset, but it will be considered or not? It should be considered or not? Bolo yes or no? Because that is also payment for purchasing the asset. So can I say to purchase the asset, we are paying this, and this amount. Bolo yes or no? Bolo. Have you understood? Correct? So this is known as what? Lease payment. Everyone try to understand. This is known as lease payment. And lease payment plus GRB is known as minimum lease payment. Oh, acha, ye baat. Are you getting? So lease payment, whenever I am using the word lease payment, that is agreed lease rent, which has been written in what? Agreement. But guarantee was not written where? In agreement. Guarantee was not written in agreement. So any guarantee given will also consider the combination of these two will be known as what? Minimum lease payment. Minimum lease payment. This you understood? This point you understood? Correct? Chalo. Now coming to solution. Point number 1. First we'll do classification of lease. Classification of lease means what? Classification of lease means what? Whether it is a finance or operating lease. Classification is done on inception of lease. On inception of lease. Means I can say on agreement date. On agreement date. On that date only will classify. On agreement date. Classification will be done on which date? On inception of lease. On inception of lease, I will define it as per IND AS. But try to understand. Agreement date is nothing but what? Inception of lease. Means in our example, what is the agreement date? 1/4/2016. And because economic life is equal to what? Lease term. It become what? Finance lease. It become a finance lease. In exam, you need to write down the reason also. It is a finance lease. So first we'll do classification. Classification as per IND AS 17. So it is a finance lease. Now accounting treatment. Now we'll do recognition of lease. First classification, then recognition. Correct. So point number 2, write down recognition of lease. Recognition of lease. Recognition of lease will be done on which date? On commencement. On commencement of lease term. Oh, अच्छा, ये बात. On commencement of lease term. Recognition of lease will be done on commencement of lease term. AS 19 was silent regarding this. AS 19 has not used this term only. As per AS 19, there is only inception of lease. There is no commencement of lease term. But commencement will come only when I will get the asset. Suppose agreement done on 1/4, but I am receiving the asset from lessor after 3 months. The lease term should be started on agreement date after 3 months. After 3 months, na? Are you getting? So commencement of lease term can be different than what? Inception of lease. Inception of lease. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Correct. So when right to use is transferred, when I can use the asset, then only lease term should commence. Then term should commence. So taking into this point, they say recognize lease on which date? On commencement of lease term. In my example, both are same. Means on 1/4/2016. Means normally they are same, but not always. But not always. Are you able to understand this point? Bolo. This you understood. So commencement will recognition of lease will be done on commencement. So on this date we need to pass one journal entry. On 1/4/2016 we need to recognize the lease. So we need to recognize asset as well as liability. One asset and one liability. Bolo yes or no? So what will be journal entry? I will pass the journal entry lease machinery. Can I write down? Lease machinery account debit to what? To lease obligation. Lease obligation. Are you able to understand? You can also write down the name of the person. What is the name of the person? B Limited. B Limited. Lease obligation. So leased machinery to lease obligation. But at what amount? At what amount? So this amount we need to understand. This amount we need to understand. Bolo yes or no? So as per IND AS 17, you know, but it will be what? It will be lower of. Lower of. Point number A, what? Initial fair value of what? Machinery. That I have not given, na? Not given. So write down 2 lakh. In question, write down fair value. Somewhere write down fair value of machinery is equal to 2 lakh on inception, on 1/4/2016. Done? Batao. Initial fair value of machinery 2 lakh. 2 lakh. or what? Point number B, present value of what? Minimum lease payment, MLP, from the point of view of lessee. We write down in this way MLP lessee. Means MLP of lessee and lessor will be different. MLP of lessee and lessor will be different. Therefore, we are writing MLP from the standpoint of lessee, whichever is lower. So we need to calculate this. You know, you are expert in what? Present value. So you will do, I will do. Huh? You have considered GRV also. How much coming? Pakka 2 lakh. 2 lakh. Everyone getting 2 lakh? Because this question is framed by me, therefore it is coming 2 lakh. But it can be lower. Understood? Correct? Understood? So whichever is lower, 2 lakh. So what journal entry you are passing? Lease messy 2 lakh to leased obligation 2 lakh. Done. Any doubt? Everyone got present value of MLP. MLP means including GRB. GRB will be at the end. It will be paid at the end. Everyone got 2 lakh? Or I will do? Are bolo yes or no? Everyone got 2 lakh? Present value I will not do in class. Chalo, very good. This you understood? Now, point number 3. Write down point number 3. On payment of lease payment. Lease payment is one noun, huh? On payment of lease payment. Lease payment is one noun. On payment of lease payment. So can I say this will be paid on due date? On due date. Due date can be any date. Normally from exam point it will be always at the end. It can be at the beginning, it can be during the year, any date. So on payment of lease payment, in our question it is which date? 31st March 2017, year end. So we'll pay. So what journal entry will pass? Journal entry will what below? Lease obligation. Lease obligation. Account debit. Finance charges. Account debit to cash or bank. So how much you have paid? 70,000. This is inclusive of interest or not? Inclusive of interest. So interest first year will be 2 lakh 10%. 2 lakh 10% means what? 20,000. So it will come 20,000. Balance will be reduction of liability. This point you understood? This you all know, bachpan. FM, full FM. Okay? So 50,000 will be reduction of liability, lease obligation. Any doubt? No doubt. This also you have understood. Point number 4. Batao. Depreciation. Batao, who will claim depreciation? Lessor or lessee? Lessee. Correct? Understood? So depreciation we need to calculate. So depreciation will be calculated at year end only. 31st March 2017. What journal entry will pass? Depreciation account debit to what? To accumulated depreciation, or you can say lease machinery, whatever you want to write down. From exam point of view, both are correct. Correct now? So because I have not given what? Any rate of depreciation, we'll apply SLM. So can I say देखो GRV is not residual value. GRV is not estimated residual value for calculation of depreciation. So if residual value is not given, we'll consider nil. Correct? So बताओ, how much 2 lakh divide by what? 5. 2 lakh divide by 5 is equal to what? 40,000 will be depreciation. 40,000 will be depreciation. Done. बताओ. So simple. Life is simple. Only for guarantee, what is covered? Lessee is covered. Not more than this. Only there are some important are there that we'll need to discuss. Any doubt? Correct? No. Write down. Point number 5. Write down. Calculation of finance charges. In exam, they will also ask you to calculate finance charges for each year. So in that too, we are expert. Calculation of finance charges. In hire purchase, used to do interest. Same thing. Year end. Year end. Write down. Outstanding. Then write down finance charges at what rate? 10%. Then write down lease payment. Lease payment. Correct na? Then write down reduction in liability. Reduction in liability. Normally in exam also they ask calculate finance charges for 2 marks. 2 out of 2. इसमें क्या है? So can we start with first year end 31st March 2017? Outstanding obligation is 2 lakh. Rate of interest 10%, 20,000. What is the lease payment? 70,000. What is the reduction in liability? 70 minus 20 na. So 50,000 is reduction in liability. Second year 31st March 2018. But I will do 2 lakh minus what? 50,000. For next year it is 1,50,000. Interest will be how much? 15,000. How much? Lease payment 65,000. Reduction in liability 50,000. Then 31st March 2019. It become 1 lakh 10,000, 60,000, 50,000. Very simple. Then 31st March 2020, 50,000, 5,000, 35,000, 30,000. Last year 31st March 2021, 20,000, 2,000, 22,000, reduction in liability 20,000. But last year always take as balancing figure. Last year interest will always take as balancing figure. This done. Any doubt? Then write down. Point number 6. Extract of financial statement. Extract of financial statement. First we'll do SOPL. SOPL. So in SOPL we write down under expense expense. बताओ, one तो finance charges will come. How much finance charges? 40,000. I am doing for the first year. SOPL for which year ended? 31st March 2017. Then we write on depreciation and amortization. Finance charges how much? Depreciation is 40. Finance charges 20,000. Then we write on depreciation and amortization 40,000. Only these two will come. Don't make total for this, huh? For extract, never make total. Extract of SOPL. 2 marks you got. Chalo, 1 mark. They will ask this also in exam. Then we'll prepare extract of what? Balance sheet. But whenever they ask question of IND AS, balance sheet will be as per the format based on IND AS. So even though you don't know, I will write down the format based on IND AS. Discussion will be done on Sunday class. Format discussion. So now, as per IND AS format, we write first asset, then equity and liability. Correct? So we start with assets. Under asset, first we write non-current assets. Under non-current assets, first we write PP. So this lease machinery will be PP only, but will be separately disclosed under which head? PP. Understood? But means in the notes to account of PP, we need to disclose separately that this is all leased machinery. So can I say PP, I am writing in bracket, leased machinery, what amount will come? 2 lakh minus 20, how much? Sorry, 40, how much? 1,60,000. Depreciation, leased machinery. Bolo. Any doubt? So leased machinery will be part of what? PP only. So asset done. Don't make total, huh? Then we write down equity and liabilities. Under equity and liability, first we write equity. So equity nothing we have. Then we write non-current liability. Non-current liability. And then we write current liability. Correct? So in non-current liability, we write down finance lease obligations. Finance lease obligations. Finance lease obligations. Correct? So this balance sheet we are doing at which date? On 31st March 2017. On 31st March 2017. But what is the amount payable? 1,50,000. 1,50,000. But can I say out of 1,50,000, some amount is payable within 12 months and some amount is payable after 12 months? Bole yes or no? So the amount which is payable within 12 months will be current liability. Amount which is payable after 12 months will be what? Non-current liability. Non-current liability. This so I think you know. Arey bol de na. Correct na? So the out of 1,50,000, how much is payable within 12 months? So this will, it will, this is why, this is the chart. This is total 1,50,000. Out of how much is payable within 12 months? And how much is payable after 12 months? Understood this point? So this becomes current liability. This becomes non-current liability. Understood? So this statement is important for extract. This is important for extract. How much is payable within 12 months? This point you understood? Correct. So how much non-current liability we write down? 1 lakh. And in current liability we write down current maturities, of finance lease obligations. How much? 50,000. And this becomes extract of balance sheet. Extract of balance sheet. Extract balance sheet. Normally they ask extract of balance sheet in exam. Any doubt? Bolo. Not 1 lakh. How came? This is not. This is the total liability. This statement you have done now. This is 1 lakh 50. How much is payable within 12 months? So balance is payable after 12 months. So 1 lakh 50 minus 50 how much? 1 lakh. Or you do 50 plus 30 plus 20? 1 lakh. Understood? Any more doubt? This also you have understood? Then we need to also give what? Disclosure. Write down notes to account. As per the requirement of IND AS 17. This is the very, very important. Notes. So what are the disclosure required? First, stop talking. MLP payable. MLP payable as on reporting date. MLP payable as on reporting date. Our reporting date is 31st March 2017. But what is the MLP payable as on reporting date? MLP payable. I have not written present value of MLP. I have written MLP. So can I see it is gross amount? Gross amount na? Batao. Can I say in our question MLP means what? This plus GRB. This plus GRB, out of which how much paid? 70,000 paid. Means MLP payable is 65 plus 60 plus 35 plus 10 plus 12,000 plus 12,000. When I am saying MLP, MLP will be inclusive of what? GRB. MLP will be inclusive of GRB. This point you understood? Bolo. So MLP means including GRB. But how much? What amount is coming? 1,82,000. This disclosure is required. First. Second, reconciliation of MLP and their present value as on reporting date. As on reporting date. Our reporting date is 31st March 2017. So reconciliation of MLP and their present value. Reconciliation of MLP and their present value as on reporting date for the following period. Reconciliation of MLP and their present value as on reporting date for the following period. So what are the following period? Point number A. Not later than 1 year. First write down, then I will explain. MLP and present value. Then point number B, later than 1 year but not later than what? Who said? not later than 5 years. And point number C, later than 5 years. Correct. This disclosure is required. Normally finance lease are what? More than 20-30 years. Normally, I'm not saying always, huh? In my question, it is only for 5 years. Okay? Now, what they want to say, everyone try to understand. One, because answer you write down, I will not write down. In our question, it is 5 years. So we are standing at this point of time, 31st March 2017. This तो already done na. We are not discussing about this. So बताओ, what is the amount payable on 31st March 2018? How much? What is the amount? 65. Then what? 60. Then what? 35. Then what? 20 plus 12. Huh? 10 plus 12. 10 plus 12. This you understood? So can I say the MLP later, not later than 1 year is this? Bola yes or no? I'm just extending for your understanding. But later than 1 year means this, but not later than what? 5 years. Will take how many years? But this is or not? 4 years. Dangerous. Can I? This is second, third, fourth, fifth year. Are you able to understand? Later than 1 year, but not later than 5 years. And this become what? Later than 5 years. So this disclosure you are supposed to give. So MLP to I will write down, but not later than 1 year is how much? 65,000. Then in point number B, this will come 60 plus 35 plus 10 plus 12, how much? 1,17,000. And this is nil. The total of this is equal to 1,82,000. This you understood? Have you understood this point? This is danger. When I say later than 5 years, but it will be of 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? Huh? Don't commit this mistake in exam. Danger. Now, can you give me present value? Give me correct present value. Explanation I have given. You know how to calculate present value. Give me correct present value. Explanation I have given. Don't do present value calculation without thinking. Do present value. Calculate it. Present value. Done. Now from today we have entered to final level. Now you will think what is happening in your life from today. But first is what? This answer is what? 59 0. Everyone getting this? Any different answer? Everyone getting this? 57, 53, 53,719. I will get 2 answers only. Now if you are getting more than this answer, then I need to jump. अच्छा, अरे किसी को तू ही पढ़ा दे. मतलब anyone is doing, hey, you are doing, then they खुद कर लेगा. IPCC पास हो गया है. Now, how many are saying 59090 approximately? How many are saying 53719? So those who are saying 53719, they have done some mistake. That only I want to inform you. This is correct. Means you have done 65,000. What is the second year present value factor? 0.8264. You have done this? Bolo, you have done this? Bolare. But what I have written? Present value as on reporting date. You are not understanding my emotions. Don't write think also. Means you want present value as on this date. So this become year 1. Oh, acha, ye baat. Means multiplied by 0.909. Understood your mistake? Understood your mistake? Mistakes are good. Till you rectified. Correct na? Chalo. So now it becomes 59,090. This is coming how much? 909. What I will say, this total should be equal to 1,50,000. Bole yes or no? Because this is coming in the liability in balance sheet. That is nothing but present value. That is nothing but present value. So write down 1,50,000 and take this as balancing figure. But what is the balancing figure coming? 90910. So always take either this as balancing figure or the last one as what? Balancing figure. This you understood? Correct? With this, I have discussed all the points belonging to lessee with some additional point which I will give as a note. Understood? Why? I become sad. Done? Understood? All points covered. Now I can give in writing all points. Chalo, fast. We need to do in writing. Write down. Books of lessee. Start writing till the class is over. We'll write down only. Can we start? Point number 1. On inception of lease. What journal entry? No journal entry. Correct na? On inception of lease, no journal entry. Understood? On inception, lease is classified as finance lease or operating lease. Inception of lease is the point number A, date of lease agreement, date of lease agreement, or point number B, date of commitment, date of commitment by both parties, by both parties, whichever is what? Whichever is earlier. So it is a binding commitment, then also what? It is a date of inception. Because agreement can be done orally also. The written agreement is not required. Correct now? The commitment given, then also it becomes inception of lease. So this is inception of lease. This point you understood? Point number 2. Write down. On commencement of lease, so can I say on commencement, asset and liability, correct, are recognized at lower of point number A. Initial fair value of leased asset, point number B. Present value of minimum lease payment, we'll call it MLP. You can write down in exam also. MLP from the standpoint of lessee. Correct. Lower of. Correct. Note number 1. Write down. Commencement of lease term is the date from which lessee is entitled to what? To exercise the right to use the asset. Correct? Means when physically the possession has been transferred. Correct? In simple word I can say. So that become commencement of lease term. So of course practically inception and commencement can be different. Important from exam point of view, because this is one difference. So pakka they will create one question in coming attempt. I don't know which attempt, but pakka they will give question on this basis, in which all students will do wrong. Correct? Then point number 2. So what is minimum lease payment? MLP from the standpoint of lessee. Whenever I write down this, So this is from the standpoint of lessee. In exam, write down from the standpoint of lessee, because you are writing only one time in exam. Okay? So MLP from the standpoint lessee is equal to what? It means lease payment over lease term, correct? Correct now? Plus what? GRV, guaranteed residual value. GRV can be also used in exam. It can be used. GRV in respect of lessee. In respect of lessee means GRV lessee and GRV lesser are different. GRV lessee and GRV lesser might be different. When it will be different, we will discuss. Correct? So lease payment of lease term. So sir, what is the meaning of lease payment? What is the meaning of lease payment? Everyone, try to understand whatever I am writing out. Don't only write. So lease payment means what? It means agreed lease rent, correct? Plus purchase option price, Lease payment means agreed lease rent plus purchase option price. Try to understand, everyone. Suppose in the agreement, option to purchase has been given. Option to purchase has been given at the end of lease term. So it means ownership will be transferred at the end of lease term. So in this situation, whether lessee will give any guarantee? In the lease agreement, lessor has given purchase option to whom? Lessee. That you can purchase the asset at the end of lease term at rupees 1 lakh. This is purchase option price. So in this situation, whether lessee will give any guarantee of residual value? No, because already they have what? Option to purchase. Means either purchase option price will come or GRV will come. Both cannot come. Batao yes or no. But institute in one of the questions has given both. I don't know how they create question. They read the IND AS, acha, this amount. They don't apply their common sense because they are not chartered accountant. They are obsolete chartered accountant. But we are giving exam. Don't make video for this. We need to accept whatever is coming in your life. Accept it. We are here to score now. We'll score 90%. Whatever you ask, we'll answer. We'll add dono kar do. Are we able to understand? Correct? So we are not there to show our knowledge. You are wrong. You don't know anything. We'll make video. Write down answer as per the information given in the question. We do respect ICAI because they are what? Our godfather. This is true. If father is doing wrong, whether you will do case against father? Whether you will file a case against your father? No. Simple. Logic is this. Accept it. You need to accept the information given in the question. Write the best answer. Write down the best answer. Don't panic. Understood? Correct? Always best student will pass in worst circumstances. They will become what? CA. This is the fact. Lease payment, agreed lease rent plus purchase option price. Practically, either purchase option price or GRB will come. But as per the meaning, so because in India nowhere written this point. So as per IND AS, I can say what is the formula? Formula is lease payment means agreed lease rent plus purchase option price plus what? GRV. As per the information given in the IND AS, what is the formula we are deriving? The formula is what? Agreed lease rent plus purchase option price plus GRV. But either of these will come practically. If the purchase option is given, there is no question of guarantee. There is no question of guarantee. Understood this point? Understood this point? Done. Okay. Then point number 5. What is the meaning of GRV? GRV in respect of lessee is equal to residual value guaranteed by whom? By lessee or on behalf of lessee. Sorry. Residual value guaranteed by whom? Either lessee or wife of lessee or son of lessee or grandson of lessee or on behalf of lessee. Anyone on behalf of lessee. Whoever is given guarantee, because lease can be of what? 90 years or so. 90. So this guarantee can be given at any time during the period of lease term. Not only on inception. This guarantee can be given at any point of time. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Correct? I will explain GRB thoda sa, but not now. So GRB you understood? So GRB means what? Residual value guaranteed by either lessee or on behalf of lessee. Both will not give. One person will give guarantee. Understood? This point also you have understood. Point number 6. Write down. Following payments are not lease payment. Oh, अच्छा, ये बात. Following payments are not lease payment, even though paid by lessee to lessor as per agreement. Even though paid by, write down this also. Even though paid by whom? Paid by lessee as per agreement. What are such payment? Point number 8. Cost of services. Point number B. Taxes paid or reimbursed to lessor. Point number C. Contingent. This word is coming in your life. Therefore, I started my class with contingencies. Now I think contingent coming to मजा आ रहा है. You understood contingent. So contingent rent. ठीक है? So these are, even though paid by lessee to lessor as per agreement, will not come under definition of lease payment. Means this will not included in MLP. Why, sir? Why? Doubt आया? Correct now? Now try to understand, everyone. When I am writing this formula, initial fair value of leased asset, a present value of minimum lease payment. So when I am saying present value of minimum lease payment, this is what? MLP is for the use of asset now. For the use of asset means what you are paying for the use of asset. That should be considered. Means anything which you are not paying for the use of asset should not be considered for finding out the value of asset. To find out what? Value of asset. Whatever you are paying for the use of asset, that should be considered. But the rent you are paying for what? Use. Purchase option price you are paying for what? Use. Guaranteed residual value, whatever you have guaranteed, that is for what? Use of the asset. But the cost of services, if paid by lessee to lessor, because some maintenance service is provided by lessor, that is for the use of the asset? No. Any taxes paid, municipal tax paid, because risk and reward transfer to who need to pay? Lessee. That is paid or reimbursed to the asset. That is for the use of the asset. The municipal tax, recurring, what you say, day to day. So that should not be considered in the value of asset now. That should not be considered in the value of asset. Doubt will come in what? Contingent rent. I think you have understood this too, no doubt. Any doubt in this too? This should not be considered, because why? Because these are not for what? Bolnare. Not for use of asset. Hence should not be considered for recognizing the value of asset. For recognizing the value of asset. Sir, we have understood point number A, we have understood point number B. Sir, but why you have written contingent rent? Rent to be paid for what? Use only. Rent we pay for the use. Let us take my example. What happened with me? You will understand what happened with me. When I started my first coaching class, that time so no fund, nothing with me. No student only that time. I started way back in 2008. 2007 I started, 2008 I started professionally with promotion etc. Okay? In Kolkata. So because I was not having a student, I have taken a small premises. I was finding a small premises where I can have 25 student minimum. So I was searching 25 student place. Because rent was also very high. How can we pay if there is no student? So the rent, I found one place, the rent fixed was 10,000. Mine was operating lease. But I am just giving example so that you can understand. 10,000. Rent, this was the market rent. Market rent. So I need to pay market rent. I decided, we have decided we will pay 10,000. I started my coaching classes. First batch with what? With say, padlo bhai. So I got 3 students and they started learning from me accounts. That time I used to teach accounts, IPCC only. No foundation, no final. I have started with IPCC account. So I got 3 students. So 3 students were sitting. I taught them. Fees was also 1,000 per student. 1,000 means, and the class will go for 3-4 months. The 4 months my remuneration, my income was 3,000. My income was 3,000. So I started teaching. Okay. Then due to what good coaching, they have done some mouth publicity. Next batch, I got 20 students. Because one of them got a very good marks. One of them got good marks. It does not mean all got good marks. Okay, so recognition happened. Next batch, immediate next batch, I got 20 students. And then third batch, my batch, what was the admission we need to close. I got 30 admission because the seating capacity was 25 only. So I need to close the admission that time. Means you come in next batch, Baba. You come in next batch. So this information went to whom? Owner. Understood? Now he become what? Greedy. Acha, 30 students. Fees is also now 6,000. 30 into 6, this much. Rent is only 10,000. Oh my God. Now next year renewal of agreement. Next year renewal of agreement. Now what he said, okay, now the market rent is 12,000. I say, okay, I will pay 12,000. Now I am happy 12,000. Take 15,000. Because I will not leave this place. But what he said, 12,000 was also higher. What he said, in addition to this, per student, you need to pay 200 rupees. But this is what? This is for the use of for his greediness. Means this is dependent on happening on some future event. If I'll get some student, I need to pay. Bole yes, means based on my turnover. Based on my turnover. This is contingent rent which is not paid for the use, which is paid because of some other reason. Are you able to understand? Therefore, contingent rent are not included in MLP. Even though it is a part of rent, but this will not be included in rent, MLP, because that is dependent on happening of certain future event. Understood? Correct? So contingent rent which might be which is based on turnover, etc. Based on sales, which might be based on sales or profit will not be included in MLP. Be careful. Till now they have not asked this point. Once asked, dangerous question of what? CA final. Because they will say, अच्छा मजा आ रहा है. Coming soon. Pakka one attempt they will prepare this type of question, contingent rent. Understood this point? Correct? Just write down one note and we'll wind up for today. Adam? So what we'll do for these expenses? Because such payment will be recognized as what? Expense in the period, as expense in the period in which it is incurred. Means it will not be capitalized, it will be charged to PL as an expense immediately. Understood? Correct. So we have written up to commencement. Balance point will do tomorrow. Thank you very much. We'll meet tomorrow. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Enjoy remaining